All right, let's see. So we just finished example 6.5. That's right. Okay. And so now we are going to start talking about drag. This next slide is just saying, I feel like we've already had this slide, that there is frictional forces and that they are considered, that they have these molecular bonds that have these springs kind of that are being compressed. And if that bond is broken, then something could slide. So, all right, I'm going on to drag. And this is saying that, if you think about drag, you probably think about drag racing. If this guy on this motorcycle is driving down the road, then he's going to feel some drag. He's going to feel force that's pushing against him. Okay, so faster objects experience a greater drag. The faster you go, the more drag you're going to have. And the drag force is going to be opposite of the object's velocity, just like friction. So the next slide is saying that for normal sized objects on Earth traveling at a certain speed, that you can find the amount of drag by using this equation right here. So this equation is showing you a couple of things. First, the V is for velocity, okay? The A is the cross-sectional area. So sometimes it'll give it to you. We're going to do an example here in a moment that shows you kind of what I mean with that. This funny looking P is known as a rho. It's a Greek letter, and it is a symbol for density. And this is saying the density of air is 1.3. You could also have drag in water, so the density is, important depending on what medium you're in. Most of the time, it's just going to be talking about something that's in air. If it does give you, a situation where you're in a different type of medium, it will give you what that density is. So you don't have to memorize any of that. And then the C is the drag coefficient. So another coefficient. We've got these coefficients now for static friction, for kinetic friction, for rolling friction, and now we also have them for drag. All right, so all of that information is given. It's showing you some different types of objects. So if you have a falling sphere, it's going to have a it's going to have a coefficient of 0.5. If you have a cylinder that's falling down, then it's going to have a coefficient of 0.8. A cylinder that is sideways basically, or side down, then it's going to have a coefficient of 1.1. So let's do this example for rolling friction here. So this says that the profile of a typical 1,500 kilogram passenger car is 1.6 meters wide and 1.4 meters high, and it's already giving you the drag coefficient in the problem of 0.35, and it wants to know at what speed does the magnitude of the drag equal the magnitude of the rolling friction. So if you were to sort of draw a picture or a free body diagram of this, you've got this car that's going, and so they are going, we're going to say to the right. We've got, of course, our normal force and our force of gravity. And then we've got some rolling friction that's happening, and we've got some drag. Okay? So it's asking us to find out what the speed is that the drag is equal to the rolling friction. Okay. So I'm giving you a blank slide here so we can write some of this stuff down again. So we've got 1,500 kilogram car. So that's our mass. And it's telling us that the car is 1.6 meters wide by 1.4 meters high. So if you multiply those together, then you would get 2.24 meters squared. So this is our area. The drag coefficient that it gives is 0.35. And the drag force equation is 1/2 times the drag coefficient times density times the area times velocity squared. Okay. In this particular case, the car is driving through air. So, our density of air is 1.3 kilograms per meter cubed. And we are comparing this to our rolling friction. So rolling friction is equal to, you've got that coefficient times mass times gravity, which if you were actually looking at the equation, I'm sorry, I should have written it the other way. It's like this, times normal. But just remember, normal and mass times gravity are the same. Okay? So this is wanting us to figure out how, at what speed they're actually equal to each other. So you need to set those two equations up equal to one another. So we've got 1/2 times the drag coefficient times density times area velocity squared is equal to our rolling coefficient times mass times gravity. And we're solving for velocity. We're solving for the speed. So if you move everything over to solve for speed, then you have 2 times your rolling coefficient, mass times gravity, divided by the drag coefficient times density. And this velocity is being squared, so you need to do the square root. Oh, and I forgot to put the area as well. All right, so then you're going to plug in these numbers. Now, on this, I would go back to the slide that has those coefficients of friction. And if you look at the rolling coefficient for rubber on dry concrete, it in the problem does not tell us that it's wet or raining or anything. So we're just going to assume that it's dry concrete and it's a car, so it's going to have rubber tires. So our coefficient is 0.02. And our mass is 1,500 kilograms. The gravity is, of course, 9.8. We're going to divide that by our drag coefficient, which is 0.35, times the density of air, times the area that we got, which was 2.24. And this is all under the square root, okay? And this is going to be equal to 24 meters per second. All right. So that is how you could find the velocity of, something that's involving both drag and rolling friction. All right. Now the next slide is talking about terminal speed. You probably have heard of like terminal velocity. If you were to go skydiving, you fall at 9.8 meters per second squared. So you're increasing, every time you're accelerating at 9.8 meters per second squared. But there is going to be a point where you're going to feel so much drag that it is actually going to balance with the gravitational force. And that is going to give you a terminal velocity. So that's this equation right here. And there wasn't actually an example but I went ahead and put a slide in here so that we could do one. So if we were going to solve for terminal velocity using that equation that I just gave. All right, and let's just say that we have a 75 kilogram person. And let's say that that person is 1.8 meters long and 0.4 meters wide. Looks like an M. Okay, if you do the area of 1.8 times 0.4, you would get 0.72 meters squared. And then our terminal velocity, then, you would just plug in some information. So, if we were going to, let's plug in the mass here and gravity on Earth. And then we're going to divide that by, now this is the part that we kind of have to be told or think about. Let's say that the person is like horizontal in the air. Then they are going to be similar to that cylinder that is face down. So that gives them a coefficient of 1.1. Okay, but again, in a problem, you're not going to have to assume that much. It's most likely going to give you the drag coefficient, or it would say that they are, face down or vertical or something. So the density of air again is 1.3, and the area that we figured was 0.72. So you end up getting a terminal velocity of, I got 38 meters per second. When you did that, you might double check that, but anyway, hopefully that's making some sense as far as terminal velocity and drag forces, because you will have homework that involves that. So, all right, I'm going to stop the video here, and then I'll have one more video, I think.